I can't go this way. It looks like there is a... What? Well, that's, that's certainly a new one. Unable to take video capture now. Fucking Nintendo. Well, the game literally just crashed. I... The game crashed. That's, that sure is... Yeah. I am at a loss for words, honestly. I sure hope that my last autosave doesn't lose me a lot of progress because, see, this is why I don't like autosave. It's because then when this happens, it's like, oh, when was the last time that the game autosaved? It's like, at least if, like, a game crashes and you were manually saving, you know, oh, well, yeah, the the last save point is sort of on you, and you have a general idea of where the last time was, but not now. Now, it's just when was the last time the game decided that it wanted to save? Which I believe it happens after every battle, so we shouldn't lose too much progress, but. This is absolutely ridiculous. And just when things were starting to actually get kind of, you know, exciting, interesting, enjoyable, all those other words that you would use to describe a video game, like the game, I really try my hardest not to rag on the game too much because I do really think that the game has a lot of good ideas. I think that the the game is a proof of concept, more or less. Despite the fact that I very much dislike open world games, from what I've experienced in the game so far, I do think that it sort of works with the Pokemon formula if, you know, it had things like proper level scaling and whatnot. The game has the potential to be a good game, certainly better than Sword and Shield, but that's not a high bar. But then this happens. When was the last time you ever saw a Pokemon game literally crash? Like, even Sword and Shield didn't crash. And have you seen what that game looks like when you're in the wild area connected to the internet and you have all those holograms of other players populating the world and whatnot? If I'm just bewildered because I really, really don't want to just completely shit on the game at every turn. I don't want Pokemon games to continue being as bad as they have been for the past few years. But then shit like this happens, and whatever goodwill that you might have wanted to give to the game just evaporates into thin air. Uh this is painful. is really the only way that I can think to put this. It is physically painful to constantly see, like, not even all the glitchiness and instability that red and blue had. The very first Pokemon games, Gen 1, that is famous for its glitches, not even those games were so broken to the point that the game could literally stop working on you random times for no real reason. But Scarlet and Violet just break. It just breaks. What does this message even say? I feel like the right answer is to say share, so maybe somebody at the company can discover what the issue is and fix it. Because I believe the issue with Scarlet and Violet is that it has a memory leak problem. So it that's what leads to the crashes. But that has to be something that people knew about before the game released, right? And they just didn't do anything to fix that. Maybe they didn't have time to fix it before the game had to ship. Like, they were working on it and they couldn't develop a fix for the problem before the day one patch came out. I don't know. I'm not a programmer or an employee at Game Freak, whatever. But the state that this game was released in, games don't release this way by accident. Usually, anyway. This doesn't happen by accident. This is... They knowingly put out a product that just doesn't function properly because they had to meet their deadline. And there's no reason that there needs to be a deadline this strict. Like, they had to rush the game out for the holidays, but I don't think people would mind if they gave the game even one more month of development time to iron out some issues. Would people really care if Pokemon came out in December instead of November? Would it really kill them to give even 2 weeks? Because this game came out on Friday, right? Friday was the 18th. Would it really kill them if they pushed the game back to December 2nd? I mean, I guess there's the whole thing with, like, Christmas and shipping and all that, but it would be in stores in December. Like, why? Actually, why? Just... I genuinely don't know, like, what to do here. Like, it's really weird because Pokemon's a big enough franchise that people would wait for it regardless of date. Yeah, and it's like, we just got that this year because they released Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That was their holiday release, which, yikes, that they released that for the holiday season. But Legends Arceus was supposed to be the actual big main release title, and they released that in January, which uh, January is typically like the death season for video games because like it's after the Christmas season. Games that release in like January, February are usually ones that are doomed to failure. And I one would argue that releasing Arceus in January probably showed a lack of confidence in the game, but people still bought Arceus releasing in January because, like you said, it's Pokemon. Like, people all over the internet have been driving home this point for many years now, but especially so in the past few days since Scarlet and Violet came out. Pokemon is literally the highest grossing media franchise on the entire planet. People will buy Pokemon if it if you told people that the only time that they could buy a Pokemon game would be on February 29th, and after February 29th, like it's only available for 24 hours, and after that, you can never buy the game again, it would still be a multi-million unit seller because Pokemon will sell because it's Pokemon, which is part of the problem. Like, Pokemon is so big that things like this can just happen. And not only do people not care and put up with it, people will run to defend the company for this happening. Like, oh, it's not Game Freak's fault. They have these strict deadlines put on them by the Pokemon company, yada yada. Sure, the Pokemon company imposing deadlines on them is part of the issue, but that's it. It's only part of the issue. Game Freak still has to do they have to deal with the hand that they're dealt, and they even if deadlines are taken out of the equation, like the Pokemon games are not the point that they really should be in comparison to other video games of the modern era. Like the level scaling thing that we were talking about earlier, level scaling in open world games has existed for like well over a decade at this point. And sure, it wasn't perfect when it first came around, but we've had those years and years of experience. We know how to make games with scaling, and they even attempted to dabble with it themselves in Sword and Shield's DLC. Like, again, it wasn't perfect. There wasn't really scaling so much as it was there was a flag that determined have you beaten the game or not before doing the DLC. And if you and then it would scale the enemies and stuff in the DLC to either the levels around the second or third gym or post game leveling. And it's not a perfect solution, but it is a solution. This game doesn't have that. It just has, well, it has nothing. All the levels are just set, and nothing changes relative to how much progress that you've made in the game. It's just, oh, hey, you can go anywhere and do anything in the world as long as you're able to physically explore and get there. But the actual objectives you're intended to complete are still designed in a set order, and you have to do things in that order. Or the game strongly suggests that you do things in that order. It's just so I don't I don't even really have words to describe it. Uh Vocabulary is literally failing me here. Why? Just how could they knowingly release a product like this? And this game costs $60. Like, this is a full price video game. People are expected to spend $60 on this. And this is not a $60 product. Hell, I've said this before. I only paid $45 for this game, and I still don't feel like it's a $45 product. The DS Pokemon games were $40, and I would struggle to say that those games were worth their price tag, but I'd be more willing to accept their price tag. But if actual retail price on this game was $40, I'd still feel like I paid too much for it. It's especially when there are games that cost much less than this with that have more polish, they have more heart and care put into them. Pokemon literally has become soulless. It's That's really all it is. It's These games are not the focus anymore. They're just a means to an end. And that end is every couple of years introducing a new batch of features that they can market and a new locale to set the anime and whatnot. And the games are pretty much just an excuse for that. Ay, my goodness. Like, I really don't know what to say or what to do. Like, I did want to get things done in the game today, but my motivation to do anything else has kind of been shot. If anything, the I was trying to get to a Pokemon Center or something. I'll probably just do that. We'll do the same thing that we've been doing where we will hit the story stuff and I'll cover grinding, traveling and whatnot on my own time. But I don't know. Like, this is just actually depressing to see. And I'll be completely honest, it kind of kills any motivation to actually see the game through at all. It's why is this game the way that it is? It's thank you for the raid, Milo. You came at a very awkward time because the game is not being a game right now. Welcome here, a mole raid. Welcome to the Raiders. If this is your first time here, my name is Yukichi Reikyu, and I normally play a lot of games with a lot of random chance and variants to them, such as card games and JRPGs. And when you play a JRPG like Pokemon, some RNG is to be expected, but I wasn't expecting the RNG in this game to be the game has a chance of straight up not working. Um, I was just ranting for God knows how long at this point. The game crashed like 15 minutes ago or something, and I've just been going off about the state that the game is in. And you have to install more RAM in your Switch. Yeah, we'll get the Switch Pro any day now. It's coming this year for sure. Announcement any day now. Nintendo Direct coming soon. But I well, I was just talking about how I kind of feel demotivated to actually continue with the game because of things like this, but that wouldn't be fair to you guys coming in. You're here to see not that. You're here to see gameplay and fun times. I just really wish that this game was released in anything resembling a better state than the one it was released in. Like, sure, games are going to be buggy when they release. Not every game releases finished because it's the modern era, and that's standard industry practice these days. Games just release unfinished. It's not great, but that's the reality of things. And I'm willing to accept some bugginess and lack of polish in a game, but not to the extent that this game has.